So 6 months later, we're treated to another game called Sonic and Knuckles, with a cartridge slot built into the top of it. It's probably one of the bulkiest Genesis cartridges you can own. But anyway, it turns out that Sonic and Knuckles is actually the second half of Sonic 3, so it's not really a sequel, just more of a continuation of the same game. In terms of story, Sonic and Knuckles immediately follows the events of Sonic 3. The Death Egg has been prevented from taking off, but now has landed on the floating island, which is still grounded. In this game, we're introduced to the Master Emerald, which controls the power of the Chaos Emeralds. After stealing the Master Emerald for his own personal gain, Knuckles finally sees just who the real villain is and helps Sonic reach the Death Egg, where Sonic thwarts Dr. Eggman's plans and rescues the Master Emerald and gets the floating island back in the sky. Knuckles' playthrough happens after these events, which is quite evident by just looking at your surroundings. I have no idea why the Sonic 4 PR is trying to convince us that both stories happen simultaneously, it just doesn't work. All the levels that we saw in the Sonic 3 level selector are here, along with a few new ones. You see, Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles were originally meant to be one game, but because of time constraints and deadlines that needed to be met, the game was sliced in half, which is why Sonic 3 alone feels so incomplete.
But as a standalone title, Sonic and Knuckles has everything that was in Sonic the Hedgehog 3. So there's not much new to talk about besides new levels. There's no C feature and no way to select Tails. Instead, we finally get to play as Knuckles the Echidna.
Knuckles isn't as fast as Sonic and can't jump as high as him, but thanks to his dreadlocks, I guess, he can glide in midair and use his fists to climb up walls. He's also considered the hard mode of the game since his routes are usually more dangerous, and his boss fights are a little more difficult because of Knuckles' limitations and smarter boss strategies.
Mushroom Hill Zone. Flying Battery Zone. So this is what the inside of an Energizer looks like. Sandopolis Zone.
We hate this level, we hate this level, we hate this level.
Oh, alright, it's not that bad, but it can be painfully long, especially the second act. Lava Reef Zone.
Unless you have the fire shield, you're gonna get hit. A lot.
Hidden Palace Zone. Without a doubt the hardest level in the game, and the spot where we have a one-on-one confrontation with Knuckles. Sky Sanctuary Zone.
It's pretty much Wing Fortress Zone from Sonic 2, only not as dangerous, and Sports Mecha Sonic trying to kill you by using inventions that obviously failed in the past.
Death Egg Zone.
No longer just 2 rooms in a hallway from Sonic 2. The Death Egg Zone has finally been given 2 full acts.
With Loopy-Loos! Whee!
Doomsday Zone. The true final level of the game, which is only available if you manage to collect all the Chaos Emeralds before Death Egg Zone. This is the first time in the series that we have a boss that's exclusive for Super Sonic. You collect rings and ram into shit. That's pretty much it.
Graphically speaking, it's exactly the same as Sonic 3, so our critique here still applies here. The same goes for the music, it's still awesome.
But of course, we still haven't used this game's incredible lock-on technology! In order to make up for cutting Sonic 3 in half, Sonic & Knuckles comes with a lock-on feature that depends on what type of Sonic game you place on the top. By jacking in Sonic 3, we get Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is the true Sonic the Hedgehog 3. In addition to bringing back the save feature and Tails, we get all the levels from Sonic 3, as well as all the levels from Sonic and Knuckles. This also allows us to play as Knuckles in the Sonic 3 levels, and we can finally explore those areas that Sonic and Tails couldn't enter themselves.
In addition to the Chaos Emeralds, by the time we get to Mushroom Hill Zone, we're introduced to Super Emeralds, which you can only start collecting after you either get the corresponding Chaos Emeralds. Getting all the Super Emeralds unlock a very special extra for each character.
What you're seeing now is my normal state. This is a Super Saiyan.
Oh, what a useless transformation. You've changed your hair, so what?
And this is to go even further beyond!
Hypersonic is essentially God in Hedgehog form. Besides being just as fast as Super Sonic, he's also completely invulnerable to drowning and can do a mid-air dash attack which not only doubles as a second jump, but also kills every batnik on the screen. Jeez! But he can still succumb to bottomless pits and being crushed. So Sonic needs Super Emeralds in order to survive underwater. Wow, that's pathetic. Hyper Knuckles, in addition to being faster, can now climb walls incredibly fast and glide furiously fast as well. And when he collides with a wall after gliding, the resulting earthquake will kill every batnik on the screen. Tails, who initially didn't have a super form with the Chaos Emeralds, now has a super form with the Super Emeralds. This always confused me as to why, but getting the Super Emeralds with Tails is well worth the effort. Super Tails is ridiculous. Besides having all the benefits of a super form, he can also fly much faster, and he also has his flicky army of death. These nasty little Hellraisers will attack anything that moves and completely rape bosses. Look at this, I don't even need to move. And if you have an electric shield when going super, what, the game wasn't easy enough for you already? So, needless to say, with these two games combined, this is my favorite Sonic game of all time. The amount of levels and just how big they are is amazing, the new power-ups and abilities are great, and it's just a kick-ass game. Each character brings something new to the table without completely changing the formula, and to me, that's how it's supposed to be done. One of my favorite games of all time.
Sonic 3 and Knuckles, in my opinion, is the best Sonic game ever made. It has the best level design, best controls, best music, and a great storyline for a simple 2D platformer back in the day. I still just play this game over and over 15 years later, that's how great it is.
Now, in addition to locking on Sonic 3 with Sonic and Knuckles, you can also attach Sonic 2 to the cartridge, which allows you to play Sonic the Hedgehog 2 with Knuckles. And there's not much to say about that. It's just Sonic 2 with Knuckles. Have fun. There's also the Blue Sphere game, which you can play by locking in any other Genesis game into the cartridge. It's basically just a Sonic 3 special stages, just with different layouts, but if you lock in Sonic 1, the amount of levels can reach the millions. And you seriously have no life if you played them all. But yeah, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, awesome. In just about every way. Do yourself a favor and play this game. Don't play the first half alone or just Sonic and Knuckles. No! No! Play this. It's the true experience and definitely worth your time. This game is the reason I became a definite fan of Sonic. Yeah, the first two titles definitely helped lead the way, but this one, I mean, wow. I'm certainly not afraid to give this a 10 out of 10. 16 years later, and it's still an incredibly fun game.
Our second 10 out of 10 this year! 2010 is awesome!
Next time on Sonic the Hedgehog, we head off into spin-off territory as Sonic plays a dangerous game of Pinball Wizard with the mighty Robotnik. Hopefully tilts are legal in this clusterfuck of pinball madness. Next time, Sonic Spinball.